wasn't the only fighter in the ring tonight with a new trainer. Since his last appearance on HBO, a disappointing 10-round decision over Levi Billings in Las Vegas, Lennox Lewis fired former trainer John Davenport and has hired Pepe Correa, the man who in the late stages of Sugar Ray Leonard's career was Leonard's trainer.
Yes, and he is trying to imbue the habits of Leonard of being patient, taking his shot when it's there, not rushing things. From the noise of this crowd, they may be starting to accept Lennox Lewis in Britain. So far, they really don't see him as British since he won the Olympics under the Canadian flag. But if he wins tonight, he'll be more British than the Queen.
Born in London, reared in Jamaica and in Canada, won the 1988 Olympic gold medal for Canada, knocking out Ruddock in the final. Now a professional from England, Lennox Lewis, and the ring record for this man who now enters the ring to the standing ovation of English boxing fans. 21 consecutive wins for Lewis, 18 knockouts against, every expert would say, at best, indifferent opposition.
In part because good opposition didn't want to get in the ring with him at this stage of his career.
And now you hear the booing beginning to fester on the other side of the arena as Razor Ruddock makes his entrance into the ring. Razor Ruddock, who years ago in Toronto, Ontario, had an amateur fight against Lennox Lewis when Lewis was 15 years old, a 3-2 decision for Ruddock at that time. Later, when Lewis was still an amateur and Ruddock had turned pro, they sparred with each other. In the words of Lewis, they sparred countless rounds together. But as Lewis points out, Ruddock wasn't a slugger then. He was a boxer.
Ruddock is seen to have the advantage of a puncher and someone who's been in with tough opposition and having been hit hard and come back from being hit hard. But I think you have to suspect somebody whose credibility is based on losing twice to Mike Tyson.
19 rounds with Tyson. He was knocked down 4 times. He won 3 of the 19 rounds, and yet off of that, many observers call him the best heavyweight in the division, the uncrowned champion. Tail of the tape for Lennox Lewis and Razor Ruddock. And you see the weights, 231.5 for Ruddock, 227.5 for Lewis. Not the roly-poly heavyweights of years past, 2 sculpted Adonises. Punch-stat numbers, Larry Merchant.
Well, from these numbers, you can see where many people are backing Lewis, the underdog, because he throws so many more punches than Ruddock. At least the Ruddock we're used to, who was basically a one-handed fighter. That big left. And Lewis's advantage is pronounced with the jab. He has to win with the jab. Ruddock has used it sparingly, although he is said to have had a very good one before he turned out to be a slugger.
Now for the rules of tonight's Lewis-Ruddock bout, we go to our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
Razor Ruddock and Lennox Lewis will fight tonight using the rules of the World Boxing Council. 12 rounds, 3 judges scoring the fight, 10-point must system. There is no standing gate count, no 3 knockdown rule. It can be saved by the bell in the last round only. Jim.
Electric environment in Earl's Court. We go to ring announcer Mike Goodall for the national anthems and the free fight introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please be upstanding for both national anthems?
of America to Earl's Court Arena in the heart of London town in England. This is the main event of the evening, sponsored by Nightstick. Frank Maloney for Championship Enterprises and the main events in association with Murad Mohammed, 3M Promotions Incorporated, presents the Fight for the Right, a contest of 12 3-minute rounds, the WBC final eliminator for the heavyweight championship of the world, and to decide the heavyweight championship of the Commonwealth. The officials appointed to this contest by the WBC, the supervisor in charge, Mr. Jose Sullivan, President of the WBC, the British Boxing Board of Control Steward in charge, Mr. Nipper Reid, the timekeeper this evening, Mr. Tommy Rice of London. The judges are Mr. Chuck Hazzett of Anaheim, California, Mr. Franz Marti of Offenham, Switzerland, and Mr. Tom Kazmarek of Brick, New Jersey. The referee in charge of the action this evening, Mr. Joe Cortez of the United States of America. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing in the red corner, his record reads 27 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw, 20 wins by KO. From Toronto, Canada, the number 1 ranked by the WBC, Donovan Razor Ruddock. And in the blue corner, wearing the red trunks from East London, England, his record wins 21 contests, 21 wins, 18 by KO, the British, Commonwealth and European heavyweight champion, ranked by the WBC number 2, Lennox Lewis. Ruddock scale 231 and a half pounds, 16 stone 7 and a half pounds. Lewis 227 and a half pounds, 16 stone 3 and a half pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you.
The big issue when a fighter fights his first major fight, and if they've got the right stuff, they come through it. If he can take a punch, we may have something special here.
I'll look for Lennox Lewis to follow instructions. Now, try to get as many jabs into the chest of Ruddock, take away that power, but Ruddock is not interested in nothing until the last round.
Not since the days of Bob McSimmons in the last decade of the 19th century, as an English-born fighter held the heavyweight crown. Is Lennox Lewis about to take a step toward wiping out that century of frustration? Or is Razor Ruddock indeed the uncrowned champion of the sport? We are about to find out. Ruddock wants to wrestle. Remember that the two fighters know each other exceedingly well, even though it has been years since they've been in the ring together.
I get the feeling that Ruddock is a bit overexcited, George.
Yeah, he's trying to be an aggressor, and he's not an aggressor. And at the same time, he wants to fulfill Floyd Patterson's dream of being a good boxer. This could be one of the most confused fighters tonight.
Which punch will dominate the bout? Will it be Lewis's jab, which you've seen there, or will it be Ruddock's smashing left hook? Lewis initiates the action so far. He says his plan is to stick the jab, stay relaxed, move away from the left hook, and outbox Ruddock.
has been telling Ruddock, jab to the body so you can get the right hand in. Good left hook. To the body, of course.
Ruddock did not remember to go to the body once against Mike Tyson in those two fights. He has begun with at least one body shot here. Both fighters using the jab to begin. There's the left hook, reaching and flailing by Ruddock. Short left hook.
Hurt. He didn't intend for it to hurt because he caught him off guard, but believe me, Lewis is hurt at this moment.
2 minutes into round one. Lewis sticking the jab. Ruddock shows the left hook but doesn't bring it. Among Ruddock's many technical shortcomings in recent fights is a tendency to telegraph all of his punches.
Good luck, jab. If Lewis can continue to establish his dominant jab, he makes us an easy fight. If he backs away, he's going to just fall victim to a wild left hook.
And Ruddock, who claimed that he would box, began with the jab, but in the last 30 seconds has been flailing with the left hook as always. That doesn't mean it's ineffective. He has so much power behind him.
Razor Ruddock with one punch.
First round.
We'll go back to look at that punch. A straight overhand right. Ruddock had been waving that left hand menacingly, but keeping it low. Lewis sized him up. He had thrown two wild rights earlier in the round. But now he has really put... This is how it looked in real speed once again from above. Perfect right hand. Ruddock down.
You can't do it better. George, how will that change the fight?
Not at all, because Ruddock, he's been knocked down in the early rounds before. Doesn't change anything. But he's better respect more than the left jab of Lennox Lewis. He's got a right hand to worry about too.
Lewis hurting Ruddock with the left hook. Ruddock in serious trouble as Lewis pounds into the canvas. Second knockdown of the fight. And already Lennox Lewis has equaled Mike Tyson's knockout output against Grayson Ruddock in both of the two Tyson-Ruddock fights. Lennox Lewis is in total command now. Can he finish? Right hand to the body. Ruddock in trouble. Second knockdown of round two.
That's all. It's over. We have a great new heavyweight on the boxing scene. Lennox Lewis may turn out to be not only the greatest heavyweight in British history, but the greatest fighter in European history.
I agree.
George, is he going to be heavyweight champion of the world?
There's nothing can stop this young man but himself. If he keeps his feet on the ground, he can become not only a good champion, but a clean liver and a well-spoken boy from a good family.
The amazing thing to me is he showed not only spectacular power, but perfect technique.
He had a good left hook. That's more than we expected tonight. Good overhand right, but a left hook that really dropped him the last time.
Razor Ruddock, as shocked as anyone else here by his quick knockout at the hands of Lennox Lewis.
I want to go back to something I said earlier, Jim. I don't trust the reputation of a man who made it based on losing two fights. Here's the first knockdown in the second round, which is the second round out of the fight. Very coolly, very efficiently going after Ruddock. After the first round knockdown, Ruddock was hurt, came out in the second round trying to look like he could still fight. Plainly had nothing left. And here is the end of the fight. Ruddock manfully trying to land something to get Lewis off him, but he can't.
Oh, look at that right hand.
No doubt about it, a clean knockout.
Referee Joe Cortez didn't even bother to finish the count.
Here in London, it's 1 o'clock, and would you believe the Sunday punch? 1 o'clock in the morning, Sunday in London, belonged to Lennox Lewis, not Razor Ruddock.
And dawn may be breaking at the end of a dark century for British heavyweights. Lennox Lewis of London is headed uptown.
Well, he just became the most Britisher in the British Isles.
That's right. He's no Canadian here anymore. You wonder how that man knocked out Ruddock to win an Olympic gold medal? That's how he did it. Now, normally at this point, you would see Larry Merchant going into the ring to interview the two fighters. But the British Board of Boxing Control mandates that both fighters must be examined by doctors in the ring prior to any interview. So Larry will wait here at ringside with us. And Lewis comes to our side of the ring to wave to the crowd and say, I'm ready.
Lennox, right here. Right
I
here.
told you he could.
And Lewis gets the approval of George Foreman at close range. There's tremendous excitement in the ring. The British did not expect a full house in there as they've got right now. Lewis steps down. He is incredibly calm, George. If there was one thing we took away from our meetings with the two fighters yesterday, it was that Lewis was either faking it or was as calm before a big fight as any fighter you've ever
It's the
seen.
right way to be. He passed every test in my eyes. I thought maybe the fight would go longer, he would win, but I never expected a dynamite left hook like that.
Most people thought that the question was whether Ruddock would knock out Lewis, whether Lewis could survive Ruddock's punch. It turns out that the answer was that Ruddock couldn't take Lewis's punch.
Ruddock, fine fighter, but he underestimated this kid.
Well, he didn't show technique. He said he came into the ring to box. 1 minute into the fight, he was flailing with the left hook again, leaving himself wide open.
Too confused, too confused.
And we remind you, our ongoing phone poll on the Holyfield Bowe fight. You call right now because the poll is going to be closing rather quickly this evening, not like Election Day on Tuesday. If you believe that Holyfield will retain his title on November 13, give a call to 1-900-246-HOLY, H-O-L-Y. Or if you believe Bowe is going to take the title from Holyfield, call 1-900-246-BOWE. As soon as we've tabulated the results, not too terribly long from now, we'll be talking live in Houston to Evander Holyfield, who has just watched Lennox Lewis's quick destruction of Razor Ruddock. Right now, let's go to ring announcer Mike Goodall, somewhere in the melee in there, for the official decision.
46 seconds of round 2. The winner on a knockout, Lennox Lewis!
So the man who lasted through almost 19 full rounds with Mike Tyson lasts 3 minutes, 46 seconds against the heretofore largely unheralded contender, Lennox Lewis.
I expected as much.
Yeah, you did. You predicted that Lewis would win the fight, and you have been adamant about it all week, George. I've got to give you credit. George never backed down. In the face of writers who said, oh, he's crazy, Ruddock has to win this fight by knockout. I thought he'd win the fight, too, but I thought he'd win by a decision. I did not expect that he was going to annihilate Razor Ruddock.
I thought after the first knockdown, Ruddock would continue to brawl a little bit, but have this respect to enable Lewis to win a decision. Never expected him to try to clean house.
Well, Harold, how'd you score it?
Boy, Jim, I'll tell you, I'm the most amazed man in the place. There's no question that I thought Razor Ruddock was going to win.
Yeah, you're the one in our group who's been thinking Ruddock.
I went with experience all the way. Lennox Lewis certainly surprised me.
So
tremendous right hand. He did measure him like he said he was going to do in a meeting with us. And boy, he tagged him with that right hand after he measured him with the left.
Well, he delivers the right hand very quickly, doesn't he?
Exactly. He measures you with the left, tags you with the overhand right.
The thing with Ruddock is a lot of confusion. He's a puncher. Everybody's calling him a puncher, so he's expected to attack this young boy. And at the same time, Patterson is teaching him to box. How can you get in the ring with such confusion?
Well, and let's face it, George, Ruddock has been living on the mystique of Mike Tyson. Everybody thought Ruddock was so good, or at least those who thought he was going to win this fight, because they thought Tyson was so good. But the Tyson who beat Ruddock was not the Tyson of earlier in his career. And right now, Larry Merchant stands by with the triumphant 27-year-old Lennox Lewis. Larry.
Lennox, we're sorry, but the rule in Great Britain is that the doctor has to examine the fighter in the ring. There's such a mob scene here that we're going to have to wait a while.